Yeah, it's I'm walking a little tenderly. If you notice, I had back surgery about two and a half months ago. It's actually doing okay, but you know, if I'm standing up like this, you'll wonder. It's not just because I'm getting old. It's actually just it's on purpose.
Good, it's good posture.
Yeah, it's great to be here back in Birmingham.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been about over a decade since you've last been in the
2011.
convention. 2011.
Yeah, who was here in 2011? Anybody here in 2011? Good to see you.
Hands.
Yeah. Now you're here. Yeah. Everyone's got grayer hair and look older.
Yeah.
Nice. Even before my time, I'm afraid. 2013 was my first year. I was still at school, so I couldn't come. Amazing. No, it's great to have you back in Birmingham.
Thanks.
So I guess we'll start. What can you tell us about your early life, and how on earth did you get into voice acting and into this?
Yeah, it was. I started in radio, but it was actually kind of a little white lie because many years ago, before we emigrated to the U.S., living in Vancouver, I happened to have an agent somehow, and it was a commercial modeling / commercial class. And I didn't really know what it was because I was doing the morning show, I think, and I had all day to play around and do nothing. So I decided to do that. And he called up one day and said, "Do you know how to do voices?" And I go, "Sure." I don't know what he's talking about. And it was an audition for G.I. Joe. So I auditioned for G.I. Joe, and it was, of course, it was done, DIC animation, DIC was the joke done in Canada. And here I was, a Canadian kid who is now the voice of America's greatest hero. You know, so it's like kind of, quick, follow me toward the danger. You know, did this. And it wasn't until I became a U.S. citizen in 2013, I left the LA Convention Center with the American flag, went, oh, I can say it now. Because I didn't really want to say anything. But G.I. Joe was the first, Exo Squad, and I did some anime. I did Shomaru in Inuyasha. Anybody remember that Inuyasha series? Ranma 1/2 was one of the very first, in Cleo the Misfit Unicorn with Mickey Rooney way back. But G.I. Joe kind of started things rolling, and then this audition came around, and it was Transformers. Now, I'm kind of fortunate because I didn't see the G1. I knew it existed, but I was into Bugs Bunny and kind of weird Tex Avery cartoons, you know, and I didn't really know what to do until I really got into the booth, and I did that. I cried. I thought, yeah. And Doug was doing the auditions, ended up playing Pterosaur, and I just started thinking about, I saw the picture of it, and I read a little bit of the history. It was a giant stack of stuff that came in about Transformers, Beast Wars, and I didn't know the history, but I read through it, and I came out, I kind of thought, at the time Anthony Hopkins and Sean Connery were favorites of mine, and I thought, well, what if it's them and they had a baby lizard, you know, I was like, and so this sort of thing happened this year's incident, you know, totally, and that got me a callback, and I remember being called back, and I was called back for both Optimus, and I think it was basically my voice, like this sort of thing. Because it was similar to what, you know, different, but what the Peter Cullen Optimus Prime. And I couldn't imagine Gary not doing it, and I got the Megatron part, and I think it's just, you know, and here we are, 25, 30 years later, still, you know, talking about it. It's crazy. But yeah, that's how it happened. So, did it make sense?
That made great sense, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So when you auditioned for Megatron, you say you originally were auditions for Optimus. How much information did you get in terms of the previous depiction of Megatron? You say you didn't watch the
it's a good thing I
original
didn't, because it would have sort of made an impression on me, and I would have wanted to do something similar, but I just came up with my own thing for Megatron. Optimus Prime, fast forward 2000, what was that, 07 or something? Or early 06, 07. I knew it was happening. At that time, we had not officially moved to Los Angeles, but I was commuting. It was there all the time from Vancouver, and I was driving. I remember I emailed Sue Blue because we're very good friends, and I said, "Hey, I hear you're doing a Transformers series, and I'm allowed. I can work. I have the backstage pass. I have the visa." And she said, oh honey, oh my God, honey, yes, let's get you in. Oh honey, oh my God, yeah. And so I thought, oh, Megatron rides again, here we go. And I read for Megatron, I read for Lugnut, which is one of my favorites, you know, Yellow Lugnut.
Yeah.
It's just a stupid robot, don't know what to do except follow Megatron. And I loved him, and I read for a couple of other parts, but I did not read for Optimus. I said, well, what's the point? You know, and then I got called back, and I thought, here we go. And it was a Cartoon Network. Sue was there, and the late Derek Wyatt, who I miss dearly. Derek made such an impact, and such a close friend, and the team, and they brought me in. Read for Megatron, they're all laughing, it's great, and I thought, excellent, this is going well. I read for Lugnut and somebody else, and Sue says, honey, could you read for Optimus? I go, who? You mean Optimus? She goes, yeah, we're having trouble casting, we'd like you to give it a try, I think you could probably... I said, okay, so I went out in the hall, practiced a bit, came back in, and basically did my own voice, because I didn't know what to do. You know, they wanted a Tom Hanks type sort of character, a little naive, and I didn't really know, I was lost. And I get a call from my agent driving through Chinatown in LA, off the 110 coming in, and the phone rings. Hey DK, it's Natanya. So listen, good news. You booked, Transformers. And here we go. This is it. We're going to go back. And she said, they want you for the role of Optimus. And I went, what? I was literally making a right turn onto Temple Street toward the Disney Concert Hall. I was going right, and I was going to go down past it. I was right there, in that intersection, that section of downtown LA, going to play some squash at the LA Athletic Club. That's when I got the call. And I literally said to her, I said, well, how's that going to work? And she said, what? I said, well, it's okay. So Optimus, she goes, yeah, we start recording in a couple weeks. And I just was baffled, like, how is this possible? I don't even know what I was going to do. I'm the good guy? Because Megatron's very Shakespearean to me. It was written that way. Bob Forward and Larry Dittillo and those guys were very, it's like, to be or not to be, that is the question. It is noble in the mind to set the slings and arrows of a ranger's fortune. It's debate back and forth. That's Shakespeare. And Optimus is just this naive robot. Doesn't really, he's a band of misfits. Who's with me? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? Okay, I'm gonna go myself. And that's how I sort of played him. In about 4 or 5 episodes, and I started to kind of drop into the character, so I could feel comfortable with it. So that's how that happened.
That's awesome. There you get a drink.
Yeah, no, silence. Yeah, please go ahead.
So you say...
Vodka.
It's strong.
I love the UK. Yes.
So you said then that you were surprised you had to swap to playing the good guy.
Mm-hmm.
How many of your other roles, on average, would you say are you playing the villain?
There was been a bunch over the years. You probably know more than I do. I don't like to look at IMDb because I'm always afraid I'll not like what I see. And you'd be really interested to know that I really haven't seen an entire season full on of Beast Wars. I haven't really watched the entire thing. I've seen snippets because I'm a little bit nervous. Because as you get older, you think, I could have done that better, I could have done that better. It's like an hour of going, but which is silly. It's just my neuroses about watching things. But villains are fun because there's this, they seem to be able to take a moment to sort of think it through. Alan Rickman was one of my favorite actors. Harry Potter, he used to talk like this. And he was much more scary when he was still and silent, and I like that when the villains are like it's interesting. If you're screaming all the time, it becomes like shouty and not interesting. But if Megatron, I played him like him, if he's always sort of, yes, what if I do this? That's where the yes came from. Thinking, yes. It's a pause between what's my next thought. And they started, and I did the first time, I added a yes onto something. And I did say that at the end of the sentence, and Sue blew, and like a bunch of meerkats from the production. Oh, honey, that was good. Let's do that again. And I said, yes. Oh, that is so good. Isn't that good? Oh my gosh, looking around. And so I would start to add a little bit here and there, and then I would throw in a no, and you get, oh yes, the no, perfect. Yes, for collaboration, you know. But and the good guys. Here's the thing about all of us go out every day and we put on a mask per se, and we're you know, at home we're different people, we're more relaxed, we're this, and out in public, you know, we have an expectation of ourselves and how other people see us, and we're always sort of monitoring it all the time, and our brains going. To do my own voice and to be myself was very uncomfortable, because I'd much rather put on a mask and be somebody else than be me. You know, that's the thoughts of, wow, who the hell, that's boring, why would they want it? And that was what bothered me the most, is, well, that's just me. And somebody said, exactly, that's what we want. So my advice to you, if you want to do voiceover, is be comfortable with who you are in your own voice. And then from that, because Megatron is just a part of who I am. Optimus is, basically the Optimus is me. I'm the guy, the optimistic guys, you know. I know the world sucks, but we got this. You know, and it's like that's who I am, and it was so, for many years, being uncomfortable with who I am. Finally, Optimus broke the mold, and it was after that I started doing movie trailers. And one of the trailers, I was so frustrated because I wasn't booking some of the trailers. You know, I did give up and just go, Richard Jewell, theaters, April 14th, rated PG-13, and then my manager called and said, hey, the Warner Brothers loves you for Richard Jewell. And I go, oh, I didn't do anything. He goes, exactly. So all this time I'm doing stuff and I don't need to. And Optimus was the one who went, hey, that's me, that's who I am. So that's kind of how it went. Doing cartoons, you kind of find out about yourself, doing the voices, because it's all part of who you are. And that's what I love about it. You just, even at 59, I'm still figuring out who I am, right? That's pretty cool. There you go, a little life lesson.
Well, I think it's definitely reassuring when a renowned voice actor like yourself was also uncomfortable with just hearing the sound of your own normal voice.
Always uncomfortable. That's yeah, but that's good to be uncomfortable, because if we were like, that's when things get you know, things get kind of weird. If you're too confident, you know, things start to kind of slide. Always be learning. Always be discovering stuff. As an actor. Yeah.
Absolutely. So from Beast Wars onto Beast Machines, did that just flow straight in? Or
yeah,
did you have to audition?
It opened the floodgates. I started getting more roles. I got entries from the US, New York, Los Angeles, and Phil Hartman's old agent, Nina Holtz. I had a meeting with her, and she saw my stuff, and we'd like to represent you at William Morris. And okay, when do we start? And that was so the whole process of beginning the immigration process, my family down to Los Angeles, because everything was happening there. There's still a lot done in Vancouver, but LA is where I really wanted to be, and to work with amazing people, you know, it's been crazy. Yeah. What I had missed is working with other actors. I mean, Captivar, and I worked on Marvel. I was Vision, Cole Bettner's Vision. I saw the Vision character. I still do him. And she's Miss Marvel, and we had a scene together, and we worked together in a series. That was fun. When I met Stan Lee during that Black Panther's Quest, worked with Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill and I worked together as Ben von Siemel. I was Ben von Siemel, and he was my cohort, and so Mark and I were there, and Stan Lee was there that day, and that was pretty special. Yeah. Stan Lee comes in. And he said, what do you do on this show? I said, oh, I've got Vision. Oh, and I Vision and Zemo. He said, oh, very good. Give me a little Zemo. What's Zemo? So I did this very just scene. I'm going to die this very episode. And he's very good. Yes, I love him. And that was so. That was just to me. It was like, oh my God, Hamill is there and Stanley is here. What's this kid from Canada doing here? You know, that was awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So when you talk about working together in a studio with the other
I
actors...
like this. We're starting to get back in there now, doing stuff, but we've been home in our pajamas for three and a half years. Yeah, when you walk into a studio now and you're doing a commercial session or something, you're like, oh my God, I'm in a studio with other people. And it smells like it's so great. It was great. It's like if you do stage work and you get back on the boards, you're like, oh, this feels wonderful, doesn't it? On the theatre, and it just feels good to be in there.
So were Beast Wars and Beast Machines, were they not in the studio all together then?
Oh yeah, they were. We were all together.
Awesome.
Yeah, all of us. I mean, you guys probably know more. You know that one of my favorite characters to play against was Inferno, Jim Burns. You know, called my queen. You know, stop calling me that.
Yes, my
queen. Yeah, that was all ensemble. We're all in together, and we would do spitballs at each other across the room. And there's in Pinewood Studios in Vancouver. It's not there anymore. There was that ceiling where you could throw a lead pencil and it would stick. And we'd all be in a room. That was me, Jimmy Burns, Doug, Alec Willows, who was one of my favorite. And when he did Tarantulas, it was always quite creepy. We'd kind of look at him and he'd do the same thing with his hands. And then Venus would be beside him, Scotty McNeil, and right across from me is Gary. Gary, pull my finger, Gary! Ian Corlett, and who else? Richard. Yes, thank you. Richard was in the corner over here, so I can see us all. It was just the most fun we've ever had, you know.
Amazing.
And Sue directed. Yeah.
And did you know, or did any of you know at the time how big Transformers had been up to that point?
No, we didn't know anything. We just knew there was another series, and we were familiar with it, and we were just, we're there having a good time. Oh, we're getting paid for this? Really? Wow, this is fun. And then we saw the renderings from Mainframe. The first time, Sue came in and said, we got a surprise today, we're going to show you some of the computer animation. And at that time it took like 24 hours to render like one small scene. And we look at it now and it seems kind of rudimentary, but at the time you're like, wow, this is the future. And whoa, look at that. When I saw that on the screen at Pinewood, and you could hear some of the voices, and there were some cut scenes, and some were finished, some weren't. And we're kind of, after that, we're like, oh, this is going to be big. How many episodes are we doing? Wow, cool. That's when I realized this might be, pretty huge.
Yeah. So I know we had Gary here 2 years ago, I want to say, 2 years ago, and I interviewed him, and he quite told us, embarrassingly, that he had no idea before or during that it was a big deal until he went to a convention, I think he said, sort of quite a few years later.
Rochester.
Whoa, people know who Optimus is?
Yeah, I know. My first convention was Rochester, New York, Venus Tourism, and I went. I believe Peter Cullen was there that same weekend. And I walked into a stadium-sized hall, and it was packed. And I remember for one of the first questions, we're sitting there and we're amazed at like, this is for us? Like, it was weird. And somebody at the very back of the room says, can you say excellent? Excellent. Yes. And the whole room erupted. I thought, wow, that's pretty powerful. I know how Eddie Van Halen feels. And that was an eye-opener, yeah. Who knew?
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. And then moving on into the noughties, Dave in the room. Dave can't boo me, that's okay, we're safe. My personal favourite Transformers series, the Unicron trilogy. Not everyone's favourite, but it's what I grew up with as a noughties kid. So, can you tell us about how you got involved with that?
It was an anime. It was like already done, already recorded. Now, to me personally, it wasn't as fun because we weren't all in together. That was the fun part. So we'd go in separately and do our, beep, beep, beep. You shall not pass, or whatever I said. We recorded our line, so we left, and we didn't see anything until it was released. We didn't really know how it all fit together. You don't have as much time to play around because the animation is already drawn. You have a lip flap to follow, and you can't sort of spend your time talking and thinking and blah, blah, blah. It's like, get the line in, try and match it as close as possible. But the story and the backstory in the series was still very successful, and it was fun to do. But I did miss being in there with everyone. ensemble again until we were doing the TF animated series.
Yeah, and you can definitely, I mean, Beast Wars has got such a reputation for the chemistry, the writing, the chemistry, the acting. I think you can really tell, for those of us that have watched all the seasons of Beast Wars and Beast Machines, you can tell that chemistry, I think, from the people who are bouncing off each other in the room. It's really great.
Yeah, we all end up doing each other's voices too. We'd be doing Scotty, and he'd be doing me, and Jim Bird would be some of the other, we're all like goofing around. That's, yeah, it's so much fun. You're just goofing around, throwing things at people. They're like, you're sitting there and it hits them in the head. Who threw that? Gary. Yeah. So, I did miss that.
And then, so when you played Megatron, and obviously Galvatron later on in the Unicron trilogy, were you directed to play the same Megatron, the same
Yeah, I can't
voice?
remember. I can't remember. It's similar, I guess. It's just, I guess, a bigger. I don't know. He was just bigger. I can't quite remember how it was directed. I just remember doing it. Yeah, that was done. That was done in Vancouver. Yeah. In Coco. Yeah.
Nice. So I know, again, when we had Gary, he said when he's changed Optimus roles, that he actually was directed deliberately differently. They wanted a different voice. They didn't just want Peter Cullen, the impersonation every time. So yeah, it's interesting that there's such two biggest characters of the franchise, arguably, that there are different interpretations, should I say, of those characters.
Yeah, and Peter's a sweetheart. I don't know if you've met Peter. He's a friend of mine. I saw him, a couple months ago, I guess. I was in Burbank and at a French cafe, and he pulls up and he gets out. It's like, hey, Peter! Hey, how are you? His voice is higher. Saw him at a drugstore before the pandemic, and he was on one side, I was over here, and I looked over and I said, what are you doing here? He said, I'm getting drugs just like you. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate it. I'm just going to transform and roll out. Where you want. And Frank Welker's, we all know each other. We all work together with each other. They're just the sweetest people. I try and live up to their sweetness and kindness. Great burgers here this weekend. I don't know how you get that nice. I tell people at breakfast this morning, I'm working on it. I'm trying to work my way up to the raw pulse and, niceness scale, and great burger, trying to attain that, it's hard. They're so great, amazing people.
Absolutely. And obviously you've worked, as well as, huge Transformers history, you've worked across video games and a plethora of other TV shows. What would be some of your favourites that you've worked on?
Well, I kind of love a little robot named Clank. You must find Captain Core quickly.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart of a robot. I've done a whole bunch of games and stuff, and Clank is they're celebrating the 25th anniversary this year. I can't believe it. There's a big party at Insomniac, I think, in November. I'm going to be there. And James Arnold Taylor and myself, we got a chance to do the movie in 2016. And got my name on a movie poster with Arnold Schwarzenegger, with the other one, Stallone. And Paul Giamatti, which is one of my favorite nights. And I saw that poster, wow, how does my name get on a poster with, that was kind of a cool moment. Me and the director of that movie are still quite close, and we're working on some projects of our own. I just love that character. One of the video games, got a bunch of other ones. We've just released A Quiet Place, which is creepy. It's coming out, and I get to play. I get to cool scenes in that. It's recent, but yeah, video games are still smoking along, man. It's pretty fun. Pretty fun.
Awesome. Right. Do we have any questions,
questions
from the audience? Yeah, it's Q&A time. Have you got a microphone? Have we got that, Justin?
I know Amber had her hand up pretty quick.
Okay, one at the front here, please, Justin.
Come on, Amber. What's the question?
We'll just get the mic just so that everyone can hear the question. Amazing.
She's a voiceover. She's a pro now.
How are you?
I'm well.
That's good. My question for you is, well, I had two, but this one is, I want the answer for this one, isn't there? When you worked on Transformers Animated, what was it like being in the same studio as Weird Al Yankovic?
Oh, working with Weird Al?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. We came in, you live in Hollywood, you kind of forget that they all live there. And I walked in one morning, walking into the studio with our coffees and our scripts, and turned around the corner, and I looked at him and went, weird. I mean, he said,
No, it's okay. I get that a lot. Don't worry about it. Yeah, hey.
I said, I'm sorry, Al. I'm optimistic, or David. I didn't know what this was stuttering, because I knew him very well, and I thought they were just going to bring in somebody who sounds like Weird Al Yankovic. I didn't know it was actually the Weird Al. And so that was, and we did a panel together at BotCon in Pasadena. Him and I were on a panel. That was surreal. That was pretty cool being out there with Weird Al. Yeah, nice, super nice. It was fun. Yeah.
Awesome. Then the next question. I'll let you take Justin.
I'm here.
Yeah. Just wherever you are.
I can't see.
Oh, Ada.
Oh, there we go.
Ada. My name is Isaac Mark Jones. I'm from Wales, yes. And just to let you know, I'm planning to join the animation industry. Oh, and the question about this is, okay, one, have you tried to protest against Megatron's controversial hatred of organic life in beast machines? And also, do the heads of the Autobots have a cockpit sitting, when they're in vehicle mode? And also, have you ever realized that, both your Transformers Animated and the Ratchet and Clank franchises, both Clank and Optimus Prime both know Ratchet, the one voiced by Kaye in Transformers Animated, and the one voiced by James Arnold Taylor. Also, my Instagram account is called Teresa2004.
Okay.
Also, I'm planning to preview for Beast Rise.
I feel like there are a lot of questions in there. I'm not sure I got the one.
Yeah.
Can we simplify to one question? Sorry.
Yeah, what was the one question? The microphone.
Justin.
Making
Thank
things
you.
difficult to hear.
Well,
In one sentence, what is your question?
okay, here it goes. Mostly, due to the fact that both the Ratchet and Clank franchise and Transformers Animated, both your Optimus Prime and, Clank know Ratchet, with Ratchet voiced by Kaye Burton and Ratchet voiced by James Arnold Taylor.
Oh, so you're comparing the Ratchet and Clank to TF characters?
They both animated Ratchet and both the one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the two Ratchets, yeah.
The two Ratchets, yeah.
Ratchet and Clank.
Every time Kaye Burton would say something, they call the name Ratchet, I think, I get mixed up. I said, what cartoon are we doing? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that Ratchet. Yes, it got confusing a couple of times. Otherwise, I just got used to it. After. But thank you. Yeah, who's next one right here? I think it's hard to see the lights.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Hi. And also, just a quick note beforehand. I'm really glad that you're doing well after back surgery. As a fellow back problem haver.
Yeah, good times, huh? Yeah.
But anyway, so main question. Well, obviously, I associate you personally a lot with Megatron, but also with Hardshell in Transformers Prime.
Yeah. Can I show you how I came up with that voice?
If that's okay, yes, please.
Yeah. So I was a chance to work on that show, which is very cool. It was Peter, working with Peter and Frank in the same room, kind of like a black hole opened up, and you felt like, oh, this is weird. We're all in the same space at the same time. But I did the audition like this, like Hardshell, because he had mandibles like an insect, so I did this all the time. Gave him sort of an but the thing is, if you do that in the audition and you get booked, you must do that at work. So for 2 hours, this is going to take me here, the hive. face, I remember like, like my gums were sore. I woke up next day going, why is, my wife will text me, it's like, something's wrong. I gotta go to the hospital. It's just because I was squeezing my jaw like this to talk like an insect. And that's how that happened. So, note to self, if you do that in audition, do it at work. Does that answer your question? Yeah, is that okay?
Awesome.
I didn't want to die in that show. I love that character. He is so cool.
Awesome, we've got a question in this bottom corner here.
Hello, Dave.
Oh, sorry, with the microphone.
Thank you very much for coming. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
So you mentioned around with Beast Wars, Beast Machines, and it's all being recorded all together. Were you working to a more strict script, or with the animation being done after the recording, were you able to add limiting lines? Or?
Yeah, you would do alternate takes, alts. Sometimes, if you thought that, if it didn't quite seem right to you, you'd say, Sue, can I just add something or change? Yeah, let's just do an alt. You try to stick close to the words that are written on the page, because it was written very well. But when we got comfortable with the characters, we're like, numerous episodes in, you start to this character wouldn't say that. So you would change it a bit, and they would ask permission to try it, and they would have both takes, so they could choose what they just, at the end. But to try and stick close to the script, and then, you bring it to life, bring it off the page, as they say, as much as, that's what your job is, to bring it off the page.
Awesome. Now I'll come to you, sorry, thank you for waiting.
If all the characters that you've voiced in Transformers had a fight, who do you think would win?
That's a really good question. I've never been asked that before. I have that picture on my desk out there, and I have to take a look at them again. Could be a surprising answer. Maybe nobody that we thought. Who knows? There's some. I think Hardshell would put up quite a battle. But I think at the end of the day, how the story is supposed to end, I think Optimus Prime would be battle-worn and crawling on all fours to get the last swing, would kind of, do the deed and do it for all of humanity. That'd be a good show, wouldn't it? The very end, who stands? I can hear the trailer now. This summer, in 2025, the battle of all battles, Decepticons, Maximals, all of them together. Yeah, wouldn't that be great? Yeah. Ooh, you stand alone, that's wonderful.
I'd watch that.
This summer. Next.
We've got a question down here.
Hello, David.
Hey, man.
My question is a little similar to that, actually, but more design-wise. Out of all of the Megatrons, Optimus, all the characters you voiced, which has the best alt mode that you've voiced? Which ones you've really drawn to?
I still dig the original, I always love it, but I did really like the Dragon. I really liked it was quite something to see that whole new thing happen. I have an MP43, a couple of those ones on my desk all the time. One's still in the box and no one ever touches it. And I still have not transformed it. I love the way it looks when it's transformed. That iteration, though, is still kind of my favorite, the classic. And the Dragon is a real close second, I think. The metallic, the reds and the golds. It's kind of cool. All of them are neat. If the other one, the Beast Machines one, didn't fall apart so easily in the beginning. But they all have their uniqueness. But again, I'm going to go with the classic. Yeah, I love the original one.
Awesome. Go on back left.
Yeah.
Hey, David, question.
Yes,
If
sir.
you voiced Hardshell longer on Transformers Prime, would you have tried to murder Starscream in that show at some point?
Would I have what?
Tried to murder Starscream at some point in that show.
Who wouldn't?
I like that.
I mean, you got on my nerves so long on the original series. Yeah. He's just one of those people. In Canada, we all refer to him as a butter tart. It's okay for the first, but the second one's like, oh God, it's too much.
Okay, I've got a little kid over there, eh? Far column, just yeah.
Oh, there we are.
It is meant to be a kids show, right? We probably should let some of the non-adults ask some questions. Okay.
So out of all your Transformers, what was your favourite? Like out of all of them?
Out of all of them. What part of Ireland? What part of Ireland are you from?
Belfast?
That is my family history. Belfast, Ireland. That's my family history of that. I love that. You know, the people from where my family comes from. It's really cool. And what's your first name?
Dominic?
Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. So my favorite Transformer of them all. I love each of them. They're all my children. I do have a soft spot for Lugnet. I don't know why. He's so stupid. No, he's like me, but the dog part in this way. So I just think because he's so naive. And he just kind of, I follow where I'm supposed to go. I don't, and I just kind of, that's kind of me. Like, just kind of floating through. Yeah. I obviously love the heroes and the villains. Sometimes some of the ancillary characters I kind of fall in love with because I didn't really know I had the capability of doing them. But Megatron, man. That started the whole thing rolling for me, and I always get a soft spot for Megs because I'm a big fan of Shakespeare, and I thought it was very Shakespearean, and I would do him again in a heartbeat. It's so much fun. Great question, thank you. Next.
Okay, Justin, I'll let you hand the mic out. Go for it.
Then we get some questions up front here too.
Then we'll get some at the front. Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, my question is, apart from the characters you have already voiced, so Optimus Prime and Megatron and Hardshell, who would you like to voice the most out of all Transformers characters?
Oh gosh, I'm not quite sure. I always, everyone who's done them makes exactly to me how it should be done. I always thought Wasp Editor was kind of cool. Because it's just, but Alec is so good at it, just creepy. I used to step away from him when he started his lines, because and I love that, what he brought to it. I would love to try, but it's Alec Will, and all the other Transformers, man, I don't know, it's almost so much fun. I don't know, it's a good question, but maybe that one.
One at the front.
Was there a line that you thought didn't sound right, but they told you to say it anyway?
Oh, I don't have to look at some scripts. So there were some Optimus ones that didn't quite fit, when I got comfortable with Optimus. I can't quite remember them. I knew there were moments that it just didn't. We would reverse the sentence or something. It just didn't work. It's like, it's like cogs in a wheel too. They kind of go like this. You can kind of feel sometimes when the cogs are kind of hitting. It doesn't work. And they change the line. The writers change it or you change it. There's just instances once in a while that happens. There's not a lot because the writing is so good. Yeah. All right.
Hi David, welcome back.
Thank you.
I've asked this question to a lot of Beast Wars cast, so it's your turn. What's the funniest moment in the recording booth you've ever had for Beast Wars? Because I remember you saying something like you and Jim Burns was telling jokes in the booth, so what is your funniest moment in the booth?
Those jokes can never be repeated. And at 8:30 in the morning, as I haven't had coffee yet, hey, DK, I got one for you. I go, oh God. it's, you know, it's like, oh, Jimmy, you couldn't wait till after. And those moments, and also, there are moments too, when we would laugh uncontrollably and we'd have to stop. You know, Super was, guys, come on, guys, settle down, guys. And somebody would say something, and we're gone for 15 minutes, you can't talk. And it takes a minute, you have to literally take 5, you know, get ready, get out of the studio, get it out of your system, come back in. Because it's those moments where it's like, I care, you know, you just, and I love those moments. I'm wasting everyone's time, but they're classic. You know, I think actually a lot of those moments happened in X-Men Evolution. I was playing Professor X because there's so many outtakes, of course. You know, where's Kitty? Where's Logan? Where's Logan? Storm, come sit on Daddy's lap. Come on. There is a lot. Those outtakes would have sunk us. Social media was a thing back then. Oh, but it was so much fun, you know. But that's where a lot of the funny stuff was happening in X-Men Evolution. Honestly, there was a lot of good times in there. Who else?
Hi, it's me here.
Yes,
nice to meet you. You talked about the funny moments. Can you recall any situation which you find difficult or challenging to manage, to perform, and how did you eventually overcome those hardships or challenges?
In like for different characters, the voice. Yeah, there's a couple of accents. I don't know if you remember Exo Squad a while ago. Robbie Benson was in it, where I was playing a couple of characters. I was playing Hollis. And Hollis, they said, well, it's an accent, but we don't want it we don't want like Eastern European, they don't want like European, they don't quite the kind of combination between Jamaican and something else. I go, what? And so every time I would do the character, and I go, what? I couldn't grasp the situation. And so I was sort of talk. I was doing this sort of hybrid thing, which is, it kind of sounded South African, but it wasn't. It was the weirdest thing, because you're trying to hold this accent that doesn't have a home with this character, because he's from another, you know, alien race or whatever, and he's not part of the Earth, so you got to come up with their own accent. And that was just, it was painful, because I wasn't thinking about the performance. Like, what am I doing? I didn't know what it worked. Where am I? You know, that was frustrating. But it over the next couple of episodes, you start to kind of feel a rhythm and you figure it out. But yeah, you get thrown in, you get cast in a cartoon. They want to know that you can do other characters. Ben 10 in Omniverse, and the Ben 10 I was in, the recent one, there's a ton of aliens, and so you have to come with, I had to do Grandpa Max, you know, which is basically me older and a pain in the ass, that's what I know, Ben for crying out loud, and then there's all these other aliens, and you have to have different elements of characters, so you have to kind of jump all over the place, and there were scenes, a lot of us had scenes together with our own selves, you know, back and forth all the time, and that's a challenge, but it's also a fun challenge. But yeah, holding an accent that has no home was probably one of the most difficult things. Just make it up. And they seem happy, so, you know. And that's a good question.
Yeah, great question. One here, one.
If you were to change one of your characters that you would play in a significant way, like design or personality, who would you pick and what would you change about them?
If one of the characters changed them, if I could?
Yeah, like either personality or design.
I don't know. Oh, boy. You're making me think today. This is day 3 or 4 of jet lag. I don't know. Not much. You know, there's certain things I'd give another shot to. I'd like to do it again. Because I could have done maybe better, but honestly, yeah, I'm sorry. I can't quite think what I'd change. Let me process that. We'll talk after, okay? All right, next.
Great question.
Hey, I was wondering, a little while ago, you played, you were on a new version of He-Man on Netflix, and
Oh, yes.
yeah, and you played a new version of Cringer/Battlecat. Can you tell us what it was like working on that show?
Oh, that was great fun. That was right before the pandemic. We shut down when we all went home. And that was the last ensemble that I was in. And now it's tons of fun. I based that character Battlecat because they didn't want the whiny, they wanted something different. And so I just thought of Liam Cunningham, Liam Neeson again. What would that sound like? Because he's kind of a protector. He's a little softer, but he will fight if he does, if he has to. But, that's where the voice comes from in here. Kind of Irish American a little bit. That's where I sort of placed him. But he's a protector, and that's what I wanted to play. My claws, that was a ton of fun. Again, a lot of outtakes in that one too. We had a lot of fun in that one. Tom Kenny was in there. I mean, the whole cast was great.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got one on the back, right?
Hi David, thanks for coming. I wanted to ask, but I think I might know the answer. If you were given the chance to come back as either like Optimus or Megatron or even both, would you accept the offer, and what would you do differently?
Absolutely not. Of course I would. It would be a little different as more time on the planet. There's certain things that Megatron I'd love to like a lot of nuance that I would in a heartbeat. Of course I would. That would be so much fun just to see where he would land these days. Me having some age on myself, and I think maybe he would be maybe a little more world weary, battle worn, and done. Maybe even something. Maybe he has a bit of this quality, very quiet, battle. I would play him here because so many years have gone by, and that'd be quite fun and interesting to do, just to see where that lands. And Optimus again would be a little more battle worn and weary, a little more wise, and it's all nuance. You like that sort of thing, that you have the base of the voice, and Optimus Prime might be closer to this area, where he's been out there a long time, and he's seen a lot of things, and, maybe he gets emotional. There's a quiver, there's a coarseness to his voice, and that's how I would play it. Still the hero, but I've seen a lot of things, That's what I would do with that. It's painting a picture. It's nuance. It's fun. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Okay.
Next.
David Kaye,
Yep.
when are you going to say put it in my ass? When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it?
You just said it.
We're all waiting for you to do it, man.
You just said it. You just said it for me. It's going to take a lot of money. I'm saying it. Javi the Hong he's cool, man. He's so much fun. We're planning on building a Lego together at some point.
Back left. We've got about 5 minutes left, guys. We will try and get through questions. I know there's a lot.
I know Raymond had a question here up front.
Okay, great. We've got one at the back and then we'll come at the front.
All right.
Yeah. There is a second panel tomorrow, just as a reminder, but yes.
Now, I'm sure you've been asked this question like multiple times, and you may have already answered the question earlier on in the panel. I'm sorry, I came in later. But what was your favorite episode, either Transformers or just in general, to record?
Okay, one more time.
What was your favorite episode, either in general or just Transformers, to record?
I think the Golden Disc one was pretty intense. That was a good one. So I gotta go through the scripts, or I still have them at home. I take a look at them now and again. The big speech, I am Alpha and Omega. That was a good one. I would redo that speech again. I could give that speech on the go, because there's a lot in there, and I would love to have done it, give it a try again to add nuance to that. That was my favorite speeches and episodes. You remember that one, right? Yeah. Speeches, Alpha and Omega. I'm That's why I don't watch them now, because I go, oh God, why did I do that? It's torture.
I mean, if you wanted to re-record anything, I'm sure that'd be a great TF-Nation special. We can make that happen.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got one at the front here.
Hi, David.
Yes, sir.
I've seen you all over the world at conventions and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
I've seen little 3-year-old kids doing your Megatron impressions. I've seen big wrestler guys just weep and fall apart. What is your favorite fan interaction over the years?
Oh, there's been many, I'll tell you, and recently, because you think, oh, you know, I'm getting older, the character's he's aging out, and you know, but I was in Boston doing a fan con, and last year in Denver, and the kids were getting younger and younger, and they were knowing who Megatron. They would go, can you say in their, you know, yes and stuff, and I said, you know, he's where's Megatron? And the father or mother would say, oh, yeah, it's because it's streaming. You can, I forget, oh yeah, it's streaming. You can stream it on you, whatever. It's easily accessible.
Yeah.
When we watched it when we were young, it was gone. You know, you couldn't really access it, but now it's there. So that's kind of cool. But I got to tell you, I was in Toronto last year at TF.Con, and I had numerous occasions. There was a kid who came up. It was a Make-A-Wish child. I didn't know him at the time. His parents brought him up, and you know, he's a sweet kid. And I didn't know until after I met him, and one of the toy guys said, "Yeah, I said Make-A-Wish." And I go, "Oh my God!" And it was like, that hit home because he wanted to meet me. He wanted to go to Orlando to see Trent, and he wanted us to come and meet me and and that floored me. And another father brought his son. I think he was probably adopted. He's big native Canadian. You know, he came up to me. He's jacked, man. He's I said, "Dude, you work out? Like, what's your lift?" And he said, "Yeah." And father said, "Yeah, he just won the Special Olympics for weightlifting." Dude, oh man, it was so cool. I think I could, you know, fist bumped and that. And he said that, "Mr. K, you're my hero. You're my hero, Mr. K." He kept saying, I go, you know, it's hard because these people are, to them, I'm their life, or their I don't know, that gets me.
Yeah.
And I remember going back to my folks who live back there. There's multiple stories like that day, and I broke down. That still makes me emotional because we are that show, are their life, are their lifeline, and that lands. So yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Of course. Thank you. Right, I've got one more question, I'm afraid, guys. One more question at the front here. Go for it.
Hello. So I'm honored to see you. It's you know, Beastable Megatron is such an awesome villain, and Optimus Prime, you know, very very notable. I really need to finish watching both series.
Yeah.
But I am hoping to get into voice acting. Do you have any advice for anyone who wants to become a voice actor? I know that you already gave some with doing your own voice.
My biggest thing, and I told Amber this at breakfast this morning, is travel. Travel. Go and read. One of my acting coaches said, you start the class up, what are you reading? What book are you reading? I don't use it. Go to the local bookstore, pick any book, start read. Get a perspective, travel, go somewhere, get different ideas, because all this stuff interprets how you come up with a character. Because you can't, like when I was younger, I keep thinking, that's why I find it hard to look back and if I only had the knowledge or had the sense. It's nuance. The more you travel, the more you meet people, the more you read, the more you sort of dig into things, the more that influences how you come up with a character and how that resonates with the character. Because, you know, it's important because that's so the basis of storytelling. And there's a promo I did for baseball. It was a baseball game in Iowa based on the baseball, that famous movie, Kevin Costner movie, Field of Dreams. And it was a well-written spot. It was an opening for the game a couple of years ago. And I had to tell a story as if I was sitting on a front porch, you know, in an Iowa cornfield, and I was maybe 65, 70 years old, and how I would tell that story to my granddaughter. And so I had to kind of go over and over and over until I finally just started telling the story, and it worked, and they hired me for it. It's on the website somewhere. But that's just being around. And you take your experiences from everywhere, and it goes into that one read where you close your eyes and you don't even need the script. You just start telling a story about, you know, somebody sitting on a porch in Iowa, and there's a baseball game, and there's, you start feeling it, and that's why it's so important to get out there. You know, so if you guys can, or you're able to, go see the world as much. I know it's a bit of a rat's nest out there, but you know, go and understand a different culture, because that's important.
Awesome. Great last question. Unfortunately, guys, we are out of time. What a good panel. Can we have a big round?